Hello and welcome to the Banker's Tech Talk video series looking at the developments in the global FinTech community. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy and Technology Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Craig Butterworth, Global Head of Client Ecosystems at Japanese investment bank Nomura. Craig, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks very much for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about the new technology trends that are impacting the investment banking world?
Yeah, certainly. So, look, I mean, first of all, technology in general, digital transformation, it's the big hot topic within investment banking right now. I think within that, clearly AI is the really big hot topic. And I think that in turn then opens up questions around things like client data, data strategy, data cleanliness, etc. And then in turn, then people step back and think, well, hang on, if I need to feed clean data into my AI engines, I need to be capturing the right data. It needs to be clean, it needs to be consistent, but it also needs to be flexible. And so then that causes banks to step back and go, well, hang on, what's the broader technology stack that I have within the firm? And then people realizing that maybe historically been quite skewed towards legacy monolithic systems that don't connect to each other. So that's then driving a broader trend of this kind of API first mindset that you hear talked about a lot. So thinking around different components of a digital ecosystem and how you connect them together to have that true 360-degree view around your clients and your broader activities.
Okay, you talk about artificial intelligence, AI. Obviously, there's a lot of talk around robo-advisors and things like that. But where do you think that AI will have the biggest impact on investment banking?
Yeah, I mean, look, AI is such a huge topic, right? And I think the reason everyone is so excited about it is because the applications are just huge, right? For the industry, but for the economy as a whole. The quantum of productivity gain, which I think it can unlock, is, reading some reports, potentially absolutely huge. So that's the reason why everyone's so excited. Particularly then when you look at investment banking, there's a lot of administrative type tasks. So you've got expensive people doing administrative tasks, and clearly AI can be applied there. Machine learning, intelligent learning. There's huge opportunities there to unlock big efficiency gains within firms, whilst at the same time improving client service. I think as well on a broader theme, something we're certainly thinking about, and I'm thinking about, is giving our employees and our salespeople tools to more systematically apply best coverage to clients. So giving them the tools to apply all the data that we're seeing on that client, so that they can systematically make the right call to the right client at the right time. I think there was just so many different applications within firms, though. It's a really exciting topic.
Okay. The other big area is really around the explosion of the FinTech community. What is Nomura's strategy really with engaging with the FinTechs?
Yeah, so I think our starting point is that there are a lot of challenges which our industry faces, right? With market structure change, regulation, etc. There's so many different challenges. So we really view technology as a critical enabler to help us address those challenges, hopefully in many cases turn them into opportunities. So once we've identified the problem set, then the mission is to go out and find the right mix of best-in-class technology to help us address those challenges in the most efficient way. So it's about starting with a problem and then finding the technology. And obviously some companies will engage with as a sort of, like we're a customer of theirs. In others, it may be more of a partnership or investment type conversation. Clearly, there's no one size fits all. I think that's different maybe to how you could approach it, which is just to say, well, hey, there's loads of cool technology out there. Let's go and engage with a bunch of interesting companies and then go and try and find a problem for it to fix. For us, it's very much about being the other way around.
Okay, but there are a lot of challenges really around engaging with the FinTechs. What sort of are the biggest challenges that you see, and then how are you really working your way around that?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing for me is, if you look at banks, in this space, banks have the domain knowledge. They know exactly what problems they're trying to fix. On the other hand, you have the FinTech companies who can be super agile, super creative, super innovative, but they have less of that domain knowledge. Even though a lot of them have people ex-industry, quite quickly the half-life drops away and they become maybe not quite so current. So, and equally, the FinTech companies have the advantage of not having those same responsibilities that banks have, and they can afford to take risks with technology. And if they fail, it doesn't matter because they've learned something from it. That doesn't really work in a bank. So for me, the two are just super complementary. Of course, you have to get the right companies with the right banks and the right people engaged, and blending that mix of technology understanding, client, market product, compliance, regulatory understanding. You have to bring all of those things together. But I think if you get the right mix, it's very much a complementary symbiotic relationship, which is good for both sides and good for the industry as a whole.
Okay, so you've just been in your role for about a year now. What would you say is the biggest thing you've learned in the past year?
Yeah, good question. I think that the thing that really strikes me is how when we launched the client ecosystem program a year ago, a business-led digital transformation program aimed at leveraging best-in-class technology to transform the business, both internally at Nomura and I think externally as well with technology companies and our competitors. It was kind of quite a new concept, and a lot of people, I had a lot of questions where people said, so what is that? What does it actually mean, and why does it make sense? So I spent a lot of time in those first few months doing internal town halls or standing at conferences or whatever and explaining why it made sense. The thing that has really struck me is how a year or so forward, just it seems kind of mainstream, this concept of digital ecosystem, and I think investment banks have spent a lot of money in technology and in FinTech in the last few years, but I think people have struggled to work out how does it actually move the needle to the business. And so people have suddenly woken up and gone, no, it's about blending domain knowledge with technology together to really move the needle forward. And so I would never have imagined how mainstream it would have almost seemed to have become in the space of 1 year. Really surprised me, and just means we have to work all the harder at Nomura to stay ahead of the pack, hopefully.
Excellent. Thanks so much for your insights, Craig.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.